Many are the people who like to predict the location for their next Assassin's Creed by talking about their favorite countries and historical periods and how cool those would work in the franchise. However, I'm an engineer and I only do predictions by using facts and maths, and in today's video I'll stand for my standards and predict the next Assassin's Creed scenario using statistics. How, you may ask? First things first, roll the intro. Now, you may think that the premise of this video is absurd, and to be honest, you're probably right. However, I think there's value in trying predicting the next Assassin's Creed by using some sort of criteria rather than a gut feeling. When you look at the past games, there's certainly at least a pattern or two emerging, some sort of bigger picture that you may not have spotted. After 20 or so games, you have to admit that the series has become somewhat predictable, especially now that we know officially that after Mirage, the next Assassin's Creed will take place in feudal Japan, a location many have predicted since Ezio's adventure in Renaissance Italy. So, what exactly am I doing in this video? Well, two things. Firstly, I will highlight the 6 patterns that I detected in the franchise, what things are repeated over and over, to then apply the findings to the results to predict the next 10 Assassin's Creed games. Yes, 10! I'm doubling down on my bet that this will definitely work, totally not inflating my guess to have a higher chance of getting them right. Of course, the locations that I will scientifically predict are locations that I would enjoy seeing in a future Assassin's Creed game. The setting has to work with the franchise brand, so no weird shenanigans like prehistoric or futuristic games. Without any other premises, let us start crunching the numbers. So, how does math, or more specifically statistics, work? The big idea is to observe different patterns in all past Assassin's Creed games, to observe what common themes reemerge how often. I will be weighing in the frequency certain aspects occur in the franchise and assume the proportion to be kept in future titles. As an example, if 20% of the games are set in one place, I assume that at least 2 out of the 10 future games will be set in that place. I will put some images on screen to make the counting clearer. According to my account, there are 21 unique games of the series that were released. I am including games that were not released yet but were announced, as well as spin-off titles such as the Chronicle games set in China, India and Russia, the DS game no one played, and AC Liberations, because why not? For each game, I will be looking at the following 6 categories that will describe the title: the continent it takes place in, the relevancy of the historical event, the biome, the time period, the political situation, and the recurrence of the location. Starting with the easier category of them all, the continents the games are set in. According to the numbers, 42% of the games are set in Europe, with Asia close by with 33%, America with 19%, and Africa with only 5%, being AC Origins the sole game set in the continent. Asia will be surprising for some, since most games set there are either spin-offs or are yet to be released, such as the aforementioned Japan title. This means that for my future prediction there will be 4 games set in Europe, 3 in Asia, 2 in America and 1 mystery jolly location. By the way, keep in mind that I will do this for every category, since it would be impossible to round up exactly all percentages neatly. I'm predicting 10 new games, not 100. So for each category, I will have one quote-unquote free jolly ticket to use. The second characteristic of the game to take in consideration is the relevance of the time period the game is taking place in. As you can imagine, there is no mathematical way to weight in this parameter. It's what a loser would say. Okay, jokes aside, this one took me a bit more liberties to be able to measure consistently, but I came up with a somewhat functioning solution, and that is by looking at every event's Wikipedia page. I evaluated that the longer the Wikipedia page is for a certain historical event, and the more relevant the historical event is for the common history enjoyer, which is basically measuring relevance in the Western world, since I only took in consideration the English pages for the events. Of course, there is a strong bias towards English-speaking events such as the American Revolution for Assassin's Creed 3, which has a word count of over 16,000 words. But this is a valid parameter to consider nonetheless. I counted that 23% of the historical events articles in Wikipedia are very long, exceeding 10,000 words, 47% exceeding 5k, 23% exceeding 2k, and that one article that is shorter than 2k words being the Ottoman Civil War, location for Assassin's Creed Revelations. This gives me 2 tickets for very long articles, 5 for just long ones and 2 for medium ones, with of course 1 jolly. Third aspect of the game to consider is of course the time period. Here the count is easy since there are standard ages defined by key events. There are some sort of games like Assassin's Creed 2 that take place exactly in the transition period between 2 ages, but most titles were easy to pinpoint. According to my count, 19% of the games are set in the Ancient Age, 33% in the medieval one, 28% in the modern age, and 19% in the contemporary times. This should give me 2 tickets for an Ancient Age, 3 for medieval, 2 for modern, 2 for contemporary, and 1 jolly. The fourth pattern I observe is the biomes the games are set in. 42% of the games are set in the temperate broadleaf biome, think of Central Europe and North America, 23% Mediterranean, 14% deserts, 9% taiga and 9% tropical. This gives me 4 games set in the temperate broadleaf biomes, 2 meds, 1 desert, 1 taiga, 1 tropical and a jolly card as in for usual. Fifth point is easy. Have we seen the country depicted in the series before? Yes or no? 16 games are set in original nations, while 5 are set in Renaissance countries. Of course, the more games there are, and the more this is to be expected, but I think there are no big surprises here. For my predictions, I will be predicting 7 new countries, 2 recurring ones and 1 jolly. The last element I will be observing is the political situation the game is set in: peace, conflict or war. These 3 labels indicate the state in which the plot of the game takes place, so for instance in AC2 there is a relative peace, in AC Black Flag there is conflict, and in AC3 there is an all-out war. 33% fall in this latter brand, 23% in peace, and 42% in conflict. They will give me 2 tickets for peace, 3 for war and 4 for conflict, which of course 1 final jolly. And these are the 6 parameters that I believe to be key when predicting the next Assassin's Creed game. On screen you should be able to see my Excel file with all of them listed clearly per game. The spin-off titles shifted some of the results towards more diversity, but that is the whole point, to see what Ubisoft considers to be an interesting location for a next title. But enough with the mathematics, we have all what we need, these beautiful so-called tickets that will help me to do something no one else in the platform has ever done, predicting the next Assassin's Creed game by using maths. Footnote before jumping into the next block, there is a video made by a channel called Backseat that does something similar to what I'm currently doing but with Smash Bros characters. His video is of very high quality and I will link it somewhere on the screen and in the description. But let us start with our own predictions. After conducting the analysis, I can start to list with a lot of confidence what are going to be the next 10 Assassin's Creed games. I will not go over the maps again, I will just write on screen what characteristics all games have and later show the Excel. It was challenging to say the least to find them all, but here they are with no particular order. Let's see if I picked one from your wishlist. Starting off in my list is Assassin's Creed Tenochtitlan, a video game set during the Spanish conquest of the Aztec Empire. I would love to see an AC game set in Mexico and to see recreated the Aztec capital in all of its splendor. Of course there will be some need of some sort of artistic freedom for the side of the developers, but I can definitely see a game set here. Second on the list is Assassin's Creed Orange, set during the Dutch Golden Age and after the 8 Years' War and independence. I can see the game set in the beautiful city of Amsterdam and its surrounding, perhaps involving merchants and traders that come from all around the globe. The city structure will remind me a bit of Venice with all those canals. Next up is Assassin's Creed Aboriginal, a game with a similar premise to AC3, that native versus invader dynamic, but set in Australia during the Australian Frontier Wars. It will be very interesting to see a story taking place in such a wild continent, filled with life and nature, ready to be explored. I think this will not be a shocker for any fan of the series, but I predict Assassin's Creed Imperium next, a game set in ancient Rome or more general in the Roman Empire. I cannot pinpoint a moment specifically, could be the Punic Wars in Sicily or perhaps the assassination of Julius Caesar within the fall of the Empire, but regardless, I believe it's time for Ubisoft to give the fans what they want. Similar to the previous prediction, Assassin's Creed Alexander could be a very interesting title. Modern ancient Greece, which we already explored before, I would like to go to faraway places such as Samarkand in modern Uzbekistan. Yes, Alex got that far. It would be splendid to play in the deserts of Central Asia as a nice change of pace from the other titles of the series. But going from the sun to the snow, I think an AC set during the Wars of Scottish Independence, perhaps called Assassin's Creed Wallace, could be quite something. Imagine exploring the Highlands of Scotland while finding the English down south, truly a dream of every Scotsman fan of the franchise. Korea is not often mentioned in history books, but the Joseon Dynasty could be home for a future Assassin's Creed game. Yes, it would be similar-ish to the upcoming AC set in Japan, but I will see benefits having 2 games set in the Far East, letting players explore lesser-known corners of the world. Another country in Asia with a rich history is Iran, with all the iterations of the Persian Empire. Honestly, it is hard to point a specific event. I would have gone for Alexander, but I already discussed him. No, for Alexander Ilkhanate, I would set during the Mongol invasion of Persia, similar to how Ghost of Tsushima is set during the Mongol invasion of Japan. This will be an out-of-the-park prediction if I get it right. Second to last on the list, we go back to the Americas with Assassin's Creed Plata, set during the Uruguayan Wars. South American history is unfortunately very underrated, but during the mid-1800s there were many wars fought down south on the continent, with people like Garibaldi even participating in the faraway conflict. I could definitely see a game set between Uruguay and Argentina, locations rich in landmarks and wonders. Last but not least is Assassin's Creed Joan of Arc, set during the 100 Years' War between France and England. The Templar Order was dissolved few years before the beginning of the war, so the timing could work quite well, and I definitely wish to have an open world game set in the entirety of Western France and Aquitaine. And there you have them, my 10 mathematical accurate predictions for the setting of the next Assassin's Creed game. Will I get at least one of them right? Yes. All of them? Absolutely, because maths does not lie. Jokes aside, I do admit that this is a bit of a silly idea, but I really had tons of fun doing this prediction with my scientific mindset for a good change of pace. On the screen you can see color-coded how I linked all the previous patterns with my predictions. The jolly cards were not as useful as I was expecting, but they definitely made my job easier. I'll leave it on the screen for some more before jumping to the conclusion. There have been many Assassin's Creed games, some of which even I didn't play, and it's curious to see how Ubisoft kept the franchise fresh with tons of different locations for the player to explore. Think about it, we go from ancient Greece's Peloponnesian War all the way to the October Revolution in Russia in 1917, spanning 3 millennia of history. What location will be next? At this point, it is anyone's guess. If you made it this far, I wanted to thank you one too many Assassin's Creed times for watching today's video. Today's topic was a bit more silly than usual, but I had fun with it, and I hope you had as well. If you like what I do, leave this video a like, share it and subscribe for more. I wish you all a wonderful day, and until next time, arrivederci!